Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Ways and Means Committee meeting to order, please, for June 18th. The roll call.
Mr. Stockin.
Present.
Mr. Fanton. Mrs. Burdick.
Here.
Mr. Demick.
Here.
Mr. Havey.
Here.
Mr. Healy.
Here.
Mr. Ricky.
Here.
Mrs. Root. 6 present, 2 absent.
And the first item of business is approval of the Oates Bus Shelter Agreement. And we'll invite one of our authorities from the back table to come and explain and then answer any questions. Our county attorney.
Good afternoon. I'm here to request a resolution authorizing the county to enter into an agreement with the city of Olean to memorialize the city of Olean's responsibilities to maintain 11 bus shelters, which were purchased by the city for the use of the riders of the former Oates transportation system during the bus shelter's remaining useful life. The MOE sets forth all the specific responsibilities that the city of Olean shall have under this agreement. The term of the agreement shall be retroactive from January 1st of this year and remain in effect through December 31st, 2027. This runs concurrently with our public transportation system partnership agreement with the city of Olean, and there is no direct fiscal impact to Allegheny County.
Could we have a motion, please?
Havey will move that.
Demick will second.
Okay, questions?
I have a question.
Ms. Burdick.
This says for the remaining useful life.
Yes.
What happens, well, first of all, how long is that? What kind of timeline are we looking at? And then second of all, what happens after their useful life is up? Does then become our responsibility, or does it continue to be Olean's?
So the useful life of the bus shelters vary at this time. Some of them could be for like another year to year and a half. Some of them have a little bit longer period of time. The agreement as written says that upon the end of the useful life of each individual bus shelter, the county has the right of first refusal to purchase the bus shelter if we choose to do so, or we can say no, and then it's the responsibility of the city of Olean to determine what happens with the bus shelter. So the responsibility will remain with the city of Olean unless we as the county decide that we want that bus shelter.
We don't want those bus shelters.
Are there other questions?
Thank you.
Hearing none. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And that's passed. Thank you. The next item is from our board clerk.
I'm looking for approval to pay Verizon Claims Center $11,985.11 from account CS 1935.433. This is to settle a claim from a motor vehicle accident back on September 4th, 2024.
Motion?
Burdick will move.
Ricky will second.
Okay, are there questions?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
Seeing Tom is in the audience, has Verizon ever wrecked anything of ours that we didn't charge them for?
Excuse me for laughing.
Not that I'm aware of. Not that I'm aware of. But I will say that's our accident. If you remember, it was our roll-off truck. So, and it was definitely over height. So
Right, and I just remember utilities used to look out for each
they
other.
did.
and-
They did. But now times have changed.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Other questions?
Yes, I'm assuming Counselor is advising we pay this?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Other questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. We need now to deal with the purchase of the Mittal phone system through something committee. Somebody back there want to be on the hot seat? This is a phone system that's needed to be upgraded because the present one will run out of tech support at the end of this calendar year.
That's
And
correct.
so the folks have done their research and it's now ready for us to approve the purchase for $300,000.
That's it in a nutshell. Yes.
Are there questions? Oh, motion, excuse me.
Yeah, Haley will move it for discussion.
Ricky second.
Okay. Moved and seconded. Mrs. Burdick.
Well, here we go again. It says funding is required, no funds are currently budgeted in the budget, so my typical question is how we're gonna pay for it. I'm getting very concerned about how much we've been pulling from contingency and fund balance. And I'm very concerned about next year's budget we have no idea. I know it's a needed thing, but I'm concerned that we're saying yes to everything, and it seems like we're gonna have to get to a point where we're gonna have to look at some other options. I'm not specifically talking about this one, I am asking how we're gonna fund this, but I'm very concerned with what's happening at the state and federal level, and our funding, it trickles down, and I think we really need to take a very close look at these things.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir. Mr. Havey?
Hi, Keith.
Hi, good morning. Good afternoon, too.
Good afternoon. I know it's a needed system. I know you've looked at the specs on this, and this is what we need and what we should have, and we should have it. I guess my question is, how does this, a purchase this size not turn up in your budget?
I was told not to budget for it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
It's, I was told it would be a capital project.
I see. Is it a capital project?
It will have to be set up as a capital project.
Okay.
The amounts were not available at the time that we presented the 2025 budget. We put money in contingency, hoping that that would be available for additional projects like this based on what the board wanted to do during the year. And I looked at contingency this morning. I believe that there is enough in contingency to cover this purchase. There's also, my second choice would be to take it from fund balance. But as I've said before, there is a list of many things that the board needs to look at to discuss before we spend all of that, because there are a lot of things that have to be, that are on the, how do I want to put that? We have a list of things that we have been working on with Chairman Harris and County Administration about items that have come up in your board meetings. We have that list. We want to discuss that before we really get into the 26 budget. We spoke to Brooke yesterday, and he is aware of that and suggested maybe that we have to set up a separate meeting to discuss all of those. Putting this through to the board is okay, because you as the board have to decide on where you want to get the funding from. But Keith, the issue with the telephone system is that it's not going to be available after the end of the year, so you have to do something. The timing of the meetings in July hinder the board approval until August if you don't wait to bring it to Ways and Means today. So that's why it's on the agenda today, is because of timing with the board meetings in July. That's totally up to you guys, but at some point, Chris had talked to Keith about putting it on the agenda for today.
Okay. I guess and I agree with that. The only question I guess I have is, during the preparation of the budget, how the decision was made not to put some money in a line item for this rather than in contingency.
We did put money in contingency for all of these type of expenditures, but there have been other things that have come up that have
No, I
been
understand.
targeted for contingency. We have not really, really haven't used all that money yet.
No, I understand.
So
Okay.
it was considered, but it was not a line item in the capitals, because you have to establish one anyway, so.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
I also came forward when I found out saying, hey, we're going to need a new phone system, which was at least a year ago.
Sure. No, I'm not saying you didn't know this was coming. My question, I guess, was why we didn't put it in as a line item. I know we didn't know the amount, but some as a line item, and then the rest out of contingency. Okay, I get it. Thank you.
Question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I'm curious, I keep hearing about all these projects that we have. I would certainly like to see that list. I'm wondering if it's going to be shared with us or if it's just going to stay amongst the admin and the chairman. I guess I'm very curious about that.
My understanding is that it will come, Brooke is going to set up a meeting, and it will be addressed at that meeting. Yesterday, we went over some of the other things that are in that list to clean it up a little bit, and there's a lot of unknown things on that. It's really just a list of items that have come up, like the needs of the jail facility that you guys have talked about, the needs of the DPW building, the needs of the purchase of the IDA building. Those kind of things that you've talked about, and you've got them to certain points, but the funding is being held up, and you've got this whole list of things that you want to try to fund. And you really do need to have that discussion, because that's nothing we at this back table can make. So we've put together a list that we talked about again with Brooke yesterday.
Is that funding for those things something that's going to have to be considered through contingency also?
No.
A multitude of funding sources that'll have to be discussed. Whether you need to budget for them in '26, whether you need to use contingency and fund balance in '25, whether you need to borrow for some of those needs as well, and what you want to do and what you maybe need to think about for maybe '27's budget. Or, can you put something off till '27? Can you budget half of it this year and half of it a different year? So there's all those things that need to be discussed about the funding.
So these projects aren't what you're saying, there's all 2025 projects?
No.
They have to be spread out?
No, they are not at all like
All
that,
right.
Fred.
Thank
Not
you
at
for
all.
that.
They are some things that you've talked about this year, but you haven't gotten to the point of funding them yet. And there's some things that we know are going to be long-term, like the Public Works building.
Right.
So it's just a combination of everything that you have, from small to large. Keys is probably in the middle, and there's some smaller than that, and there's some bigger than that. So, you kind of got to look at all of them before I think you can make a decision going forward, so,
Thanks.
yep.
I have a question. Is this company you're planning to purchase these a different one than the one that won't support our current one, or
It is,
so
yes.
we're going a new road?
The manufacturer and the vendor are two different companies from what we currently have.
And how long will they service these before they're outdated?
Mitel has been around for years, so.
No, I mean the system, sounds like our system we have now is outdated. I mean, I pick up the phone, it works pretty good, but I don't know anything about IT, but I'm just,
And hopefully it will for a while. But if a issue happens after this year, we won't have anyone to call.
thank you.
Sounds like so much of the computer software that, like Windows or something, at 10, it's done after the end
Yes.
of the coming year and got update. But
Yep.
Keith, I understand that this price is really pretty good.
It beats OGS price, yes. So, we're there.
Comment?
Yes, sir.
Well, we need a phone system that works and one that we can maintain. But I agree with Mrs. Burdick and the majority of my other colleagues on the Ways and Means here today that it sounds like we might want to take a look at what our needs and priorities are going forward and reassess those needs and priorities and the costs involved. But I'll vote for this today. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
This includes, I assume you're gonna need all new phones, or will you keep the phones you have
This
now?
includes the phones.
Okay, and then my other question is what kind of time frame to transfer and to transition to the new system?
As soon as I get the okay, I'm gonna let them know, and it will be done by the end of the year.
Okay, so there's no interruption in phones or anything? I mean, you've gotta
There'll be-
take off.
There'll be some in the transition, just because we need to disconnect our PRI from what we currently have and move it over, but that'll be on off hours.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Keith, can you talk a little bit about the added value going through this vendor and the connectivity from an emergency standpoint?
So this is the same phone system that most of the schools around here are putting in. There is a security aspect to it, where if a school has an issue, they can automatically send an alarm. It goes to the sheriff's department. So with us getting the same sort of system, we can do the same thing so that the sheriff's department is like, oh, we're familiar with this type of alarm. We know how to respond, where to go, what to do. So that's what Ms. Short's referring to, I believe.
And some emergency communication, like live in the moment opportunities for us to use it as a speaker system, a few of those things, right?
Yes, it's expounds a little bit more than what we have. So right now we can put an announcement out to a max of 100 phones. This, we can do all the phones that we have all at once. So if there's, some sort of emergency, we can press a button and say, please lock down in place, and it hits everybody instead of just a section. So it's a little bit safer.
Other comments?
Is there any value in the old phones at a yard sale or whatever? Anybody, is there
Maybe.
anything we can recoup on them?
Maybe, possibly.
They can become period pieces for dramatic productions around. Anything else? It's my understanding, talking with the chairman, that a cow to discuss the 55, list of 55, will be coming up in July, just dedicated for that purpose. So, anything else on this? All in favor? Opposed? And that's passed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next is to amend the existing services agreement with Mode Shift related to our transportation system. We'll bring in our transportation authority.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Hi. Want me to give a little brief description?
please.
Sure. So if you guys remember a couple of years ago, we came to you, we have some 5311 grant funding that we were using towards technology, which was Mode Shift. We got 5 units. So what that is it's a machine on the bus, and somebody can have an app on their phone and they can scan it. They can get online to purchase bus passes, whether it's a single ride or a monthly pass or whatnot. And then they can, when they get on the bus, they just open up their app. If they have money on their account, they can just scan it on this little machine that we have installed on the buses, and that is their fare to get on the bus. We still take cash donations, and we will probably always still take cash not donations, but fares. And so a couple of contracts ago, TransDev wanted us to lower our fleet. In the past couple of years, they have found that that was not a good option because we've had buses go down. So as you also know, we have new buses that we're working on getting on the road. And so we would like to add these technology units to each of the new buses that we have. And that way, if one of the buses is substituted in for one of the other ones, whether it needs to go out for maintenance, DOT inspection, whether an engine goes down, which seems to be happening, then the same electronic fare system is still on the bus that is replacing that in its service. And so we did not put a number in the original contract, and so the state's given us the approval to just add these 4 additional units as part of that contract.
And the funding for this is federal, state, and local.
Correct.
Our local share is $7,800 out of $78,000. Other, motion, please.
Havey will move that.
Demick will second it.
Questions now?
I must have done a good description then, right?
guess so. Thank you.
Thank
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? And that's carried. Thank you. Okay, who's up for the next one? She's there. She's gonna do this one
You
too?
want me to keep going?
Sure. You're 100% so far.
I'll take it, right? So this is an MOE to accept a 23-24 FTA Section 5310 Enhanced Mobility of Seniors and Individuals with Disabilities Program grant. So I don't remember the exact date. I think maybe the beginning of the year we came to you and asked if we could apply for this grant. So we applied for it, and this is us receiving that grant. This is a brand-new grant for us. There are a couple other places within the county that do hold the same grant, but it is focused on older adults and individuals living with disabilities. So you have to be of a certain age as far as an older adult, or you have to have a disability in order to use this service. Because it's brand new, we don't know exactly what it's going to look like. We have had a couple of meetings. We are collaborating with Department of Health, Department of Social Services, Employment and Training, a couple other departments throughout the county to look at the services that are currently available in Allegheny County, and then any gaps that we have in transportation for this particular sector of people.
We have a motion.
Vertical move.
Demick will second it.
Questions now?
Yes, I got a question. Is this solely for Allegheny County, or is it a combination of the OAT system or any of
No.
that?
This is solely for Allegheny County. It's not that we can go into Cat County, or we can go into Warsaw, Batavia, Danville, wherever, some of those services are needed, kind of like the Office for the Aging with their volunteer driver program. But it's only for residents of Allegheny County. When we wrote this grant, the Cat County thing wasn't on the table.
Thank you.
And Cat County has, in tandem, which has 100 vehicles for their Cat County service area, and then they have another service area, I don't remember where it is, Warsaw somewhere, they have another 100 vehicles. So there's some vehicles available for this type of service in Cattaraugus County already.
Other questions? Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple questions, actually. Is this service something like someone needs to get to dialysis in Rochester, Buffalo? Can they call this and will they provide that service? Because I know that's one of the things lacking in Allegheny
Right.
County right now.
Right, so that's part of what we're discussing when we've had all the different departments together. And I put together a draft chart of the different transportations that Allegheny County does have, and then all of the different needs. And those life-sustaining medical appointments, which tend to be dialysis, chemo, that kind of thing, is definitely on that list. There's a lot of things that are on that list. We don't know what that looks like as of today, right? We're just starting to try to lay this out and figure out. The one thing we have to remember is this is one vehicle. And so if we're driving somebody to dialysis every day, that's 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, and that vehicle is of no use to anybody else. So we're having a lot of different discussions about what the need is within the county and how we can best utilize just this one vehicle. And we started with one vehicle because it's brand new. So we're gonna see what happens, see where the need is. We're also working on a survey. We'll be at the senior picnic doing surveys to see what, if we can get some feedback on what the need might be from older adults and people with disabilities.
And then my other question is, the local match, it said it's $232,000, then there's a local share. And the local match says in-kind contribution. What kind of in-kind services would you be providing to equal that match?
Yeah, so the Office for the, and again, this isn't set in stone, but the Office for the Aging, has their volunteer driver program, and they're not using that volunteer time as a match for anything. So we, have had some discussions, like, could we use that time as our match? And then there's an hourly rate that would be associated with that. All the different meetings that we have, anybody that's not being paid out of this grant, that is working on this grant, is considered in kind. It could vary.
Other questions? None, all in favor? Opposed? And that's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, 2 for 2. So, we're down to referrals from committees. Public Works, please.
During the June 4th, 2025 Public Works Committee, County Administrator Knapp and Treasurer Terry Ross recommended that financing the new Department of Public Works facility be referred to the Ways and Means Committee for further discussion. I move that we discuss.
Helio, second.
Okay, after a lot of conversation today, I think the most efficient thing to do would be to move this to that same cow that we're going to have when we talk about all the different needs for funding, because the moment this question cannot be answered independently. So if that's okay with everybody.
Is there any concerns with the DPW personnel over that time frame?
I guess my only concern is if the duration, in June 4th, we talked about timeframes. We got approval for permitting. We have the drawings. We're waiting on the check to get that sent in. And then once the permit is issued, we can then go to bid. But, we only have so much once it's bid, we open bids, we have 45 days. So we just need to make sure that the financing is in place in that time frame. So sooner the better to have the discussion and thoughts.
In conversations this morning about, okay, can we answer that question today? Basically, it was probably not, that we need to do this as a package because of all those things.
So, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I guess DPW is okay with that, and we move along quickly. And then my other concern was, I don't know, the earlier discussion during was the Wellsville Airport. Is that be part of that discussion on the committee of the whole? Also, I assume, is that where we're going with that, or?
Well, that one's right now in the hands of a local law. It's already moving with the time frame for that. This discussion, when I was talking with the chairman this morning, or this afternoon, whenever it was last, that the tentative goal may be July 2nd, which would be the next, 2 weeks from now, so it's pretty
So-
quick.
And so, Mr. Chairman, going back to Legislator Healy's question, the money for the $50,000 for the Wellsville Airport was budgeted in this year's 2025 budget. So the local law that we were discussing in the Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting was for that 2025 allocation. So nothing has been decided for 2026. Any money beyond 2025 for the Wellsville Airport. So this is,
Right. And previous to last year, because we used ARPA money, didn't we, last year, correct, or no? I thought that was 25,000. We did a couple, it wasn't carved in stone that we ever gave them anything. But they came with a couple of requests when they had a couple of special needs. They have taken at least one property off the tax rolls up there, previously paid taxes, and they also had the town offices up there. I just want to make sure we do our due diligence. I mean, we shouldn't be funding one town and not another, in my opinion.
That's in the process, and that'll come back, but that's not under the,
And to clear that up just a little bit, you paid out of ARPA $50,000 to the airport in '23. You paid nothing in '24. And then it was put in the budget for '25. And prior to that, you had given them $100,000. I can look up the year, but I don't have that right in my head right now, but I'll look it up when you gave them that.
I don't remember that.
let's take that up again when it comes back through the local law process. Okay, are we okay with just moving this DPW discussion to that special cow?
It's probably appropriate.
There was a motion, can we just withdraw that? Because the motion was to discuss it, which we did, but there's really nothing to be in favor of? I don't know. All in favor of the discussion?
Took it off, I guess.
Take it off. We discussed it. Personnel.
That's you.
This is to continue, or to discuss the agreement with the Allegheny County Deputy Sheriff's Association. We will be taking action, but I'd like to request a attorney-client session first, and then we'll come back to public session on this. Okay, we have a motion. Please.
I'll move, we go into attorney-client.
Helio, second.